Hello, StarMunchers. Max here, playing for the very first time Horace, which is a game that was graciously gifted to me via Steam by Toteman, and I don't know what I'm getting into with this one at all. So I'm going in blind, and we're gonna start. I'm not messing with any of the controls. We're gonna see how this goes. Okay, looks like we got a Bicentennial Man situation almost. Oh, the first of its kind, huh? Interesting. Okay. Man 2.0. So this is very similar to like Bicentennial Man, I think. Right? This is very interesting. Solomon Automations. Who's this gentleman? The presentation of this game is already has its own, a very strong style all its own. Okay, so here's the tutorial. Whoa. I don't know if we should be walking like that. You were walking like an actual monster. Or I guess it's just his first steps, I guess, so it's wobbly. Okay, interesting.
And so, I was born. The first people I remember seeing were the old man, the old lady, and their daughter, Heather. After they'd said hello, the old man powered me down so he could install some software. I could tell they were nice people. The old man didn't give me a silly voice or stupid personality. And the old lady didn't
Personality.
dress me like a clown.
Sliders.
Although for some reason, Heather really didn't like me. Once I'd had time to get used to walking, the old man asked me to dash from one end of the room to the other.
Okay, so we're a robotic butler? Okay. The animation looks a lot smoother further away for obvious reasons, so holding down X and then moving around.
Next, the old man spent a couple of hours building some wooden platforms. He said he wanted me to jump up them, but I must admit, I was scared. It wasn't until I saw Heather and her mother happily climbing up them that I decided it might be okay.
This is such an interesting concept for a game already. Alright. Wow, we've got jumps. Dang.
The old man then rearranged the platforms. He told me to try to reach the other end of the room without touching the floor. Heather said the floor's made of lava, but when I smiled at her, she just frowned and looked away. The old lady arranged some pillows and blankets. She said it was in case I fell, but I think she just wanted it to look more like Father.
Okay, fair enough. Alright, so they're teaching us to... Oh, okay. To sprint jump. Okay, got it. Woo! Far to jump. Okay.
When I reached the other side, the old man just smiled and said, "That'll do for now."
This? Begin, be bold, and venture to be wise. Quintus Horatius Flaccus? Learning to walk. Interesting. So this is like a chapter story. Again, I know virtually nothing about this game going into it, so I don't know what I'm getting into.
A couple of days after those first lessons, the family had a big meal, and I was introduced to everyone else. The professor was the old man's brother. He was very quiet, and always seemed to just kind of stare at me. He had lived with the old man for 5 years. The house was so huge they barely saw each other. He preferred instead to stay in his room, leaving everything up to his butler, Mr. Deck, as he insisted everyone call him, although the professor always called him Anton. For a while, he called me the yellow bastard, but the old man made him stop, as he thought it sounded racist. Mr. Silton was the old man's driver. Before he worked here, he'd gotten in with some bad people and was the driver in a post office robbery, although it all went wrong for some reason. Mr. Silton showed
For
me
some
a video
reason.
of his band. I'm sure some people must like it, but I just found it terrifying. Then there was Alice. She was the cook. She was a nice old lady. When she was younger, she had been a TV chef. Then, years later, she had a small part in Coronation Street. Mr. Silton said, before she worked for the old man, Alice was quite a hoarder. She kept old newspapers and bicycles, and something about a poo in a shoebox. The next morning, the old man gathered everyone together to show them what I was capable of. "What else does he do?" asked Mr. Silton. The old man smiled. "He can help around the house." "Could he help me with my newspaper collecting?" asked Alice. "I'm not sure that's a good idea," said the old lady, "but he can do all sorts of jobs." "Yeah," said Mr. Silton, "shove a stick up his ass and he can do Deck's job." Now, said the old man, "we have company," pointing to some important-looking people. Two large men, both called Gary, set up what the old man referred to as lasers. He said again, I should try to get from one end of the room to the other, but I shouldn't be worried, as I had a special chip which meant no matter how damaged I was, I couldn't die. He said it was like infinite lives in a video game.
Okay, alright.
But when he realized I didn't understand, he said he would explain another time.
Okay, so this is teaching us to dodge stuff. They turn back on pretty fast. Okay, whoops. Just takes patience. Just takes patience. Just gotta be careful. Don't get greedy. Just wait a moment. Don't try and rush through it.
Everybody clapped, except the important-looking men. Not exactly a cold, calculated killer, is it? Said the man in black. The man in grey laughed. What kind of artificial intelligence was that? He asked. Move right, unless there's something in the way. Okay, said the old man. He turned to me and whispered, "They're going to make it quite a bit tougher, but I'm sure you'll be fine."
Okay, so why are they here? Okay. Okay, we can duck. That's probably what we're supposed to learn. Yep. Okay. We got a Donkey Kong level all of a sudden. Let's see if we can make this jump. Oh boy. Well, whoops. Don't mind me, just gonna die a bunch real quick. Down we go. Up. Duck again. Jump. Whoop. Hold on. How far does that go? Okay, to that tripod. Careful.
The garage then rearranged the room one last time. The old man smiled. Now, there's no need to look so glum," he said. "I'm still happy with everything you've done today." So this time, I was determined to do him proud.
Whoops. Okay, they're teaching me to do little jumps, I guess. All the way from the start, huh? Great! Oh, it was so close. I shouldn't have rushed right at the end. Toteman is probably laughing about at this point. Because apparently, out of all the people he could have gifted this game to, he chose wrong. I'm doing my best. All right, come on. We got this. We got this. Running like we're about to raid Area 51 over here. There we go.
The old man's friends actually seemed quite happy when I made it through. "We might have a winner after all," said the man in black. "It's no Killbot 3000, but you can almost see the fire in its eyes." A couple of days later, the old lady said she had a surprise for me. My own room. She also wanted to play me some music. I wasn't sure after what Mr. Silton had shown me. As if music wasn't amazing enough, the old lady then bought me a television set. I couldn't believe what I saw. I watched everything I could. Comedy, drama, horror, sci-fi. Anything anyone wanted to watch, I would happily watch with them. Then one day, the old man set up a small box. He plugged some cables into the television and said, "This is what I meant when I said video games." I played games at every chance I could. I took on everyone. I was unstoppable. I had enjoyed music, film, and television. But to me, video games really were the highest art form.
Pong, solid choice. Are we actually gonna play it? We're actually gonna play it. Okay, so it's like Pong. So do I actually have to win this? Okay. I do know, one of the few things that I know about this game is that it's a lot of different things. Whoops. Well, okay. Whoops. I mean, when you get introduced to existence, I mean, music, TV, and video games, good choices. My question is, it seems like maybe Horace was created for something else, but maybe the company, maybe the old man owns the company that made Horace, and it's like a government contract, and he's supposed to do something else, but they created him for a different purpose, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how in-depth the story is going to get, because clearly some of the humor is very tongue-in-cheek.
Heather's birthday was a couple of months later. Her mum and dad had bought her a camera and arranged a day out by the sea so that Heather could take some photos, although I really don't think she wanted any pictures of me. When the old man asked the professor if he wanted to go, he frowned and said, "I can't believe you want to spend time with that thing. It could destroy the world." I wasn't sure what he meant, but the old man just smiled and said, "That's what you said about the Game Boy." Anton, how about you? "I don't think so," said Mr. Deck. "The last time I got in that car, Barry crashed us into a branch of Woolworths. I never would have gone into Woolworths of my own accord." The old man explained that the car was old and the brakes had failed, but Mr. Deck was having none of it. So Mr. Silton drove, and Alice came along for the fresh air.
Interesting.
I enjoyed being outside. Although, the old lady kept telling me to be careful of the rickety old walkways. It felt like she was telling me off, but I think she was just concerned. As the old man and I stood on the cliff tops, I could see something in the distance. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked the old man. He said it was a battleship that had sunk in the 1940s. But he looked so sad when he spoke about war. I didn't see what happened, but the metal platform Heather was climbing on had collapsed.
Oh gosh.
She was safe, even if the rocks she was on looked very dangerous. The tide was rising, and we didn't know how long the Coast Guard was going to be, so I offered to climb down and get her. The old man agreed, but said I should be careful, as Heather doesn't have infinite lives, like I do.
Whoa, okay. Well, that's establishing some stakes for sure. Oh, okay. Okay, well, okay. For a split second, I thought it might be funny to have a death counter for this, heck, this episode, not even the playthrough as a whole, but I think that is a bad idea.
Heather was unconscious, and her leg was broken, so I picked her up as gently as I could. I decided it would be best if I didn't run the rest of the way.
Okay, so now we gotta walk. Can we still jump? Okay, we can. Oh, well, okay. I should have known that they'd do some sort of timing trickery there. Up we go. Down. Alright, now this is where I gotta be careful. There we go, much better.
An ambulance had arrived by the time I had made it back to the cliff top. The medics made sure Heather was okay, and then took her off to hospital. A few days later, we all went to see how she was doing. She was fine, but would have to wear the cast for a couple of months.
Very interesting.
Once Heather got to know me, we became good friends. We enjoyed the same films and TV. She was also annoyingly good at some of my favorite games. After a while, she became very interested in how I worked. Soon she knew as much about me as the old man did, if not more. We spent the next couple of months visiting other countries, as when it came to teaching me things, the old man always liked to pick interesting locations.
Convenient for gameplay.
He had explained the basics of mathematics to me at the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Taught me history in the dead of night, surrounded by mysterious giant stones. And even showed me science in action high up in a hot air balloon. This is why I was surprised when the old man took me to a restaurant. It was nice, but it seemed very somber compared to the previous grand locations. He said he just wanted to chat, and this was nice and quiet. Plus it was his favorite place to eat. We talked about life, the universe, Douglas Adams, everything really. When I asked him why were we here, why did we exist, he just smiled and said, life is like a game, just don't expect to be finished anytime soon. When I looked puzzled, he said, well, everyone should have a purpose. So I asked him, what's my purpose? He thought for a bit, then said, so you want to be a real boy? Which just confused me even more. Eventually the old man said, for now, I want you to help clean things around the house. I must have looked unimpressed, as he then said, okay, I want you to clean 1,000,000 things. It didn't sound like the meaning of life, but I suppose you've got to start somewhere.
Interesting. A man can't have everything. Where would he put it? Terrence Allen Spike Milligan. This is very interesting.
The next day, the old man said he wanted to install some more software, so he powered me down. When I came to, he said Mr. Silton had a joke for me, and that I should pull his finger. I don't think I got the joke, so the old man powered me down again. This time when I pulled Mr. Silton's finger, I got the joke, but it wasn't very funny. The old man then explained that he had installed a special chip which allowed me to clean away anything that was broken. He said it also tells me how many things are nearby, and how many smaller things are in a bigger thing. It all sounded very complicated, but he said all I really had to do was pause, and it would bring up all the information I needed. He then said he wanted me to find and clean all of the items in the room. He told me there would be some chains to climb, but that would be nice and easy, as I just had to press up. He then finished by saying, when I had collected all the items, I should come back here.
It's interesting that they decided to make the dialogue in a robotic voice. Like, it makes sense, but I'm almost surprised that, number one, I didn't think this game was going to have voice acting. It just didn't look like the kind of game that would have voice acting. Okay, I see. We got a swing. Okay, that's gonna get some use taking... Whoa, whoa. The English language just failed me. Okay, it's gonna take a bit for me to get... excuse me. Used to pressing the up button on the chain as I'm passing near it. But I'll get there. Please don't tell me I have to start over if I get zapped. Didn't know that was coming for me. Hold on. Let's grab this stuff. We gotta clean up the car. Okay. The story is very heartfelt at the onset, which makes me think that there's some tragedy that's gonna happen that I'm not gonna be mentally prepared for. Okay. Is that all of them? Here, let's hit escape. There's still 5 junk hidden somewhere. Let's figure out where the heck this junk is. Maybe off this way? Ah, over here. Of course. There we go. If nothing else, this game is doggone pleasant so far.
The old man then asked the old lady Heather and I to follow him outside. I was happy too, as it was a lovely hot day. The old man said he was worried that Alice had been hoarding again. She had filled up a small barn with old bicycles and newspapers. Heather said, this would be a perfect chance to properly test my new powers. The old man thought for a second, then said, using the steptoe chip, I should find and clean at least 300 things. When we explained to Alice what we wanted to do, she seemed scared. But after the old lady kindly explained that, well, the barn was starting to smell, she said it would be okay. One last thing, said the old man. If you want to use a door, just push up.
Fair
When
enough.
I was about to enter the old barn, Mr. Silton said he had seen some mushrooms growing inside. He asked me to give him any that I found. He then winked, but I wasn't sure why.
The game's soundtrack is also very interesting. Like, I don't know if it was just like a copyright situation, where they were like, we could use a bunch of classical pieces in chiptune for free, or I don't know what the inspiration was. Or I guess in the story they explained that Horace likes classical music. Which that makes more sense, so they at least contextualize it within the framework of the game. Okay, we got the mushrooms. All right. Doing some spring cleaning. Oh, I'm sorry. Who's left all these exposed wires everywhere? Whoops. Well, nope. Okay. Whoops. Nope. Hold on. Come on. Clean the car. There we go. Okay, do you guys move, but not that one. There we go. Move. All junk cleared, huh? I think there was another room that I didn't go into. Hold on. Wait, was that something else over there? No. Okay, we're good. In here. All junk cleared. So junk here? I think we got it all.
The old man was very happy with everything that I had cleaned. But I think Mr. Silton was even more happy with his mushrooms.